Survivors of attempted murder, what's your story? You/Mtak responded. Had a cousin of mine, who my aunt and uncle adopted from drug addicts, chase me around his house with a kitchen knife trying to slit my throat. His dad tackled and subdued him. I was around 12 or 13 at the time, and I guess he was 16 or so. I just remember hyperventilating and the absolute panic I felt while my aunt drove me home. He later that year beat and strangled to death an 8-year-old in a construction site. He ended up confessing sometime later after the guilt got to him. He got out of prison this year and sent me a Facebook friend request. Gonna pass on that, thanks. You/Nighthawk321 responded. When I was 8, my father shot me in my sleep, shot and killed my brother in his sleep, and committed suicide. I lost all of my sight, my left eye, and my sense of smell. I survived the shot because the bullet entered from my right temple and exited out my left, instead of enter from the back of my head or my forehead. The bullet lodged into my left hand because my head was resting on my hand when I was sleeping. You/Amidatelian responded. Not really sure if it's attempted murder, but a motherfucker in the Bahamas mugged me and then tried to stab me after I handed over my wallet and phone. I swatted at his hand with the goodie bag I had from the party and fucking booked it while he tried to pull the knife out. I assume it must have gotten stuck on the shit inside. Anyways, in my terror, I leapt down a block of stairs I really didn't think LD clear. Second later I hear skidding shoes on concrete, a swear and a crack. I look over my shoulder and the fucker's sprawled on the ground, probably unconscious. I give this cackling laugh and keep fucking running until I get somewhere that's got a phone and call the police. They show up like half an hour later, go find the guy who's still unconscious, with a little pool of blood around his head and basically just piss themselves laughing at this guy's incompetence. I kinda joined in, but holy shit that could have been me, with extra knife in my back. Got my wallet and phone back eventually, with the cash missing. Fucking Bahamas. You/Nevernuff Muppets responded. When I was a kid, my neighbors were this sweet old couple, and occasionally their grandkids, 5 boys, would come to visit. The oldest, Liam, was my age and had severe behavioral problems. All his younger brothers were terrified of him, and I hated his guts, but I still had to hang out with him. One time, we were playing in an inflatable pool in my backyard, Liam, my sister, and I being the oldest ones then no adults were around. Well, Liam wouldn't stop picking on his poor brothers, so Elle pantsed him. Everyone laughed. He did not take it well. When I turned around, he ran up behind me and shoved my head underwater and held me under for about 2 minutes while I struggled. I could see his brothers' legs around me but none of them moved, that's how petrified they were of him. I thought it was over. I was starting to black out when I began to hear a swoosh 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 noise and then suddenly I was free, flat on my back and coughing up water. My sister had waded over as fast as she could and punched him in the face so hard she broke his nose, smiley face. Dr insane douchey bully kid tried to drown me, older sister smashed his face in. You/Caducus responded. I was stabbed while bouncing, working as security, at a bar. I'm not sure if that counts. I doubt the guy was really trying to kill me, though he very easily could have. It required emergency surgery to close up an artery, and the knife stopped just shy of puncturing my lung. My friend, also bouncing, was stabbed over his heart, but his sternum stopped the blade. That's probably what caused the stabber to slice his own fingers open, which led to finding him and the conviction. He was charged with attempted murder, along with a bunch of other things. He was convicted of at least some of those charges, and did 6 years. All in all, not bad. 10/10 would get stabbed again. You/Captain_Vegetable responded. Driving through rural Oregon with a couple of buddies on spring break, on a stretch of highway with 1 lane in each direction, we were stuck in a line of cars behind a woman who was driving a little slowly. We hit a stretch where passing was allowed so Elle moved over and sped up so I could get around her. She sped up too. I was driving a Civic with 3 big guys in the car so I couldn't beat her. Okay, I thought, be that way. I slowed back down to get back behind her. She slowed down too. She wasn't going to let me back in. The passing lane was coming to an end and I was starting to get a little nervous. I tried to catch her eye to indicate that she had to let me in and realized she was staring at me, smiling. I looked forward and realized a semi was coming straight towards me. I jerked left, onto the shoulder of the oncoming lane, and missed the semi by a few feet. The cars behind the psycho had seen the whole thing and let me in between them, and she exited shortly after trying to kill me. I only drive fast cars now, and when I pass people, I try to do it before they notice I'm doing it. You/Deleted responded. My older brother abused me for pretty much my entire life. Broken bones, chemical burns from supergluing my eyes shut while I was sleeping, regular burns, strangling, etc. The one instance that sticks out to me the most is when we were roughly 13 and 15, he was pissed because I was watching a show and didn't want to give up the TV for him. He started punching me anywhere his fists could land. I tried to escape into our room, and he slammed into the door until it cracked and he could get in. Chased me through the house, managed to grab me by the hair and throw me over the banister. We had a half wall separating the stairwell from the upstairs, and I free fell an entire level downstairs. When I stood back up, he was standing at the top with a chef's knife in his hand. At that point I freaked out and tried to escape through the French doors in my sister's room, but he made it outside just as I opened the door. So Elle ran back upstairs with him right behind me, made it to the kitchen. We had one of those counters that wrap around and then stick out in one spot, like an attached island. That was separating us while I tried to call my mom, but he sliced the cord. I threw the receiver at his face as hard as I could and ran past him while he was holding his head. I made it down the street before I noticed he wasn't following me anymore. When I threw the phone, I shattered his front teeth, and apparently shit's excruciating when your nerves are dangling and exposed. I called my mom and told her what happened. She told me to go back home, and she'd talk to him when she got home from work. LOL fat chance. I walked to my friend's house across the highway, and stayed there till my dad dragged me home. You/Catalysm responded. I was riding my bike home one night, and was stopped at a light in the bike lane. Bam! A pickup truck hits me from the backside. He'd swerved into the bike lane while slowing for the light. Luckily he wasn't going very fast and only knocked me over. I started yelling at him through his open windows, but he pretended to ignore me, so I leaned in through the window to get his attention. He tried to punch me but I pulled back. Then he started to get out of the car to come fight me, but changed his mind. At that point I decided to get his license plate number, so I walked out into the crosswalk to get a look. When he saw me he gunned the truck and swerved to try to run me over. Then he continued on through the red light. Cops found him near his home, got him for drunk driving and assault with a deadly weapon. He just got sentenced to 7 years in state prison. You/deleted responded. I was 14 working at a restaurant through work study. I was polishing silverware when the dishwasher came up behind me and bashed my head into the shelf in front of me about 5 times. Never spoken a word to this guy before, he was new. I somehow got away, stood about 15 feet away from him. He grabs a steak knife and says in the most terrifyingly raspy voice possible, "Come here." Thinking about his voice gives me chills almost 20 years later. I ran. He went back to washing dishes. I stood in the dining room in the middle of dinner shaking and dripping in blood until one of the waiters saw me. Pretty sure if I hadn't gotten away from him when I did I would be dead. When the police asked him why he did it he said he didn't know. Fucking weird. You/deleted responded. A man jumped me and pummeled me on a beach in Barbados in an attempted rape. When I attacked him in defense he tried to kill me and was strangling me. I dug my shoulders to the sand to relieve pressure, and not blackout managed to squeeze my knee between us to separate his torso from mine. He then arched his back bringing his face closer to mine, and I grabbed on with my teeth, and went at his mouth and tongue ripping plenty off while he screamed. That got him off me and running. I felt high and happy after the fact, but my BF, who was running down to help me, cried for hours. The real horror came after with the hospital visit, and the next day reporting it to the constable. Barbados police don't give a shit about rape, and society their victim blames. Nothing was computerized and I had to write 3 copies of the incident to get it reported. My only consolation is that tongues don't grow back, and that mofo will remember me forever. You/Frankisons responded. Not me but my cousin. He was waiting for a train in a not very nice area. Young kid about 16 to 17 walks up to him and asks if he can use my cousin's phone quick to call his mom. Cousin says sure and hands him the phone. After about 3 seconds it was obvious the kid didn't need it to call his mother. He then says, "This is mine now," and starts to walk away. Cousin tackles the kid, and they start rolling around fighting. My cousin told me he remembered thinking, "Holy shit, this kid hits hard." Turns out the kid was stabbing him as they were wrestling. 9 stabs wounds to the head, neck, upper back area. Later, my cousin almost bleeds out on the train platform. Someone calls 911, ambulance comes and saves him. Edit phone and kid were both found by police. You/thinking out loud responded. I'm not sure if this counts exactly since the person wasn't trying to specifically kill me, but when I used to work at Starbucks, a guy was trying to kill his ex-girlfriend by causing a gas leak at our location, with all of us still working there. Our shift supervisor smelled the gas and had us evacuate while calling the fire department. I remember thinking, wow, I could have died over some stupid high school drama. Made me realize that every time something bad happens to me, L shouldn't overreact to the point where it inconveniences others like I'm the only person with problems to deal with. Don't want to be like that guy. You/deleted responded. My older sister had issues. She still has them now, but she also lives 500 miles away and doesn't talk to me. When I was like 11 and she was 13, we shared a room. She had run away a few times by then and generally kept saying she was going to do it to get stuff from our grandma. So we go to bed. I was coming down with a head cold, so had general nose problems. She kept yelling at me and throwing stuff after I fell asleep, telling me to stop snoring. This happened a few times and I kept telling her I couldn't not snore, so she would have to deal with it. One time I doze off and I wake up with her straddling my body, with my arms pinned to my sides, with her hands around my throat. I started making as much noise as possible and knocked her off of when. Then my mom walks in and proceeds to yell at me for making noise. I tell her what happens and she sat down with my older sister, telling her that she isn't allowed to do that, and she will go to jail, and she is so lucky my mom is so nice. Meanwhile, I'm sitting on the edge of my bed, hardly breathing without pain. Then I started having more trouble breathing. My mom just looked at me and told me to stop being dramatic, because my older sister was already getting in trouble. I was probably having my first anxiety attack. Also not the first or last time she tried to kill me. You/deleted responded. When I was a newborn, my biological father tried to kill me by choking me. It happened in my grandmother's kitchen, and my mom bopped him over the head with a frying pan and stabbed him with one of those hot dog pokers you use on the grill. He's always been a real big piece of shit. *edit I seriously had no idea when I woke up that this would blow up, and now I kinda feel weird that I posted it. Thanks to whoever gave me gold. And also no, he's not dead unfortunately. Yes, this really happened among some other crazier shit. My mom was arrested but released for the stabbing. He started to stalk her after she left him, and my stepdad actually shot him when he broke into our house a few years later. He's now living in LA on Skid Row, so I don't see him anymore. Actually haven't seen him since I was a toddler. Oh, and forgot to add, he tried to kill me because he thought I was not his child. He thought my mom cheated on him. You/deleted responded. When I was a newborn, my biological father tried to kill me by choking me. It happened in my grandmother's kitchen, and my mom bopped him over the head with a frying pan and stabbed him with one of those hot dog pokers you use on the grill. He's always been a real big piece of shit. *edit I seriously had no idea when I woke up that this would blow up, and now I kinda feel weird that I posted it. Thanks to whoever gave me gold. And also no, he's not dead unfortunately. Yes, this really happened among some other crazier shit. My mom was arrested but released for the stabbing. He started to stalk her after she left him, and my stepdad actually shot him when he broke into our house a few years later. He's now living in LA on Skid Row, so I don't see him anymore. Actually haven't seen him since I was a toddler. Oh, and forgot to add, he tried to kill me because he thought I was not his child. He thought my mom cheated on him. You/deadly communication responded. Throwaway. My mom was deadly sick, and she did a lot of fucked up shit while being on her meds. I was a quiet, shy and very introverted girl. But I misbehaved a lot in the sense that I didn't do exactly as she wanted. Typical abuse story, blah blah. The day she tried to kill me was the day my summer vacation started, and she didn't allow me to do anything when being at home. I wasn't allowed to watch TV, leave my room, go outside, be on the PC. So, I decided to get back at her and hid away the phone cable that was necessary for her to talk to her friends, which she did in almost every waking hour. She came home and found out that the phone didn't work, then got way more angry than I had anticipated. She kept beating and kicking me, slammed me on my bed and held my neck to the back of the bed edge, choking me with her hands. I could see this pure hatred and anger in her eyes, like it wasn't really my mother, it was just so much more. But it wasn't that person who had raised me and fought through life those prior 13 years. I don't know, hard to explain. I realized that she was actually going to kill me and just kicked her as hard as I could and ran away, ran out. I ended up in an orphanage for some time and then a foster family. Still have contact to her, she since went through a lot of therapy and the likes. Survived her illness, but we still don't really get along great. You/Black Horse responded. Can't confirm that it was attempted murder, but I think so. In high school we had auto shop, we spent 2 hours a day working on cars. One guy came in after buying a car off his friend, said that the brakes weren't working well. So we started bleeding, I think that's the term, the brakes, nothing was getting through. We pumped them over and over and nothing would pass through. When class was over, our instructors told us he would work on it for the rest of the day. We came in the next morning and he told us that he took apart the entire brake line and found 2 nails, wrapped in tape, shoved in the line.
Thank you so
all
much for
braking
watching
fluid
all the
from
way to
passing
the end.
through. Please like
Not
and
sure
subscribe
what
for
happened
more
next.
videos like
We
this
never
one.
talk to customers.